Lewis Hamilton's penalty in the Mexican Grand Prix showed that Formula One is broken right now. Now, the reason why I'm using such harsh words when I'm talking about the sport that I just adore, it's because at the end of the day, what we saw in Mexico was a scenario that could easily be avoided. Now, in Mexico, there were 3 incidents that were investigated, and it led to Lewis Hamilton getting penalized for one, and the other 2 incidents leading to no further action. This led to Lewis Hamilton claiming that there are double standards from the FIA when it comes to him. Now, whether that's right or wrong, you are free to make your own judgment. I'm not getting into that. What I am going to specifically talk about is why do we end up in these situations almost every time? Last season, we had this issue in Austin where we ended up talking about the Lando Norris Max Verstappen incident, where again we were talking about the regulations, the driving regulations, the rules of engagement, and stuff like that. This season in Jeddah, if you remember, Max Verstappen cut across the track and ultimately he was given a 5-second penalty, but he did something similar. And the reality of the situation is the reason why drivers tend to do these kind of things is because they are incentivized. Why are they incentivized? Because in Formula One, we've reached a point where a driver going off track is not punished, or there is no inherent penalty in going off track and gaining an advantage. The race in Mexico was one of the examples, but there are far too many races where something like this happens. And you could easily have deterrence in place. In Mexico, what happened on the first lap, we would not even be talking about it if there was gravel in T1 and T3 and even in T4 where Lewis went off. No driver would end up in those areas because they know they would be punished. And that is something you would see on tracks like Australia. In Australia, if you go off, you beach your car. In Austria, we've seen how much gravel traps play a role. At the end of the day, in Formula One, we've incentivized drivers to go off track and gain an advantage. And I think that is something that needs to be stopped. And that is very important because if this continues, we are going to have the same mindless discussions on this guy was penalized incorrectly, this guy was given an advantage, or there's double standards or whatever allegations. It's a waste of time. Have a gravel trap in place because that prevents all this nonsense. And I think it's high time Formula One is a sport. It starts taking these things seriously. We can't have these discussions and this notion of injustice when all these things could be avoided. So yeah, that's my take on the whole thing. Who was right, who was wrong? You go ahead, take a pick. If there was gravel in place in T1, in T3, and in T4, where Lewis also went off, we would not even be sitting here and discussing these things because drivers would not go over those areas. So yeah, that's my take on the whole thing. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.